Hi scholars, so today is Wednesday and we're going to do lesson 8 in our packet, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So our objective is we're going to partition shapes and identify halves and quarters of circles and rectangles. I know that's a lot going on, but we're going to get down to it and it'll all make sense at the end. First, what you have is your application problem. You do not have a sprint today, so you can just go right to this. It says Peter and Fran each have an equal number of pattern blocks. There are 12 pattern blocks altogether. How many pattern blocks does Fran have? So you have room for Peter, for Fran, your number sentence, and your word statement to answer that question. So that's what we're going to do first. Then it will go right into your problem set, which we'll talk about at the end of today's lesson. So, start our lesson. I'm going to talk about last night. Last night, my brother and I ordered a pizza because, we're stuck at home. We needed some food, and you can still get takeout. And we wanted to split our pizza into 2 equal parts or into halves. So when something's in half, that means you have 2 equal parts, and each part is called a half. So this is how my brother cut the pizza in half. Why do you think I was mad at him? Does that look equal? Is that fair, those parts? No, they don't look too fair. I was really upset when I saw that. So if my brother and I are going to share the pizza fairly, we need to each have an equal part. If it's like this, we're not each going to have an equal part. So to have 1/2 of the pizza, the 2 parts need to be the same size. So I'm going to fix my pizza so that it's in 2 equal parts. Now does my pizza look fair? I want you to look at that and think, is that 2 equal parts? Yes, so now I can get 1/2 of the pizza, and my brother can get the other half of the pizza because they're 2 equal parts or 2 parts of the same size. Sometimes we buy Sicilian pizza. Sicilian pizza is a rectangle. So I'm going to show you what a Sicilian pizza looks like. So Sicilian pizza looks like this. Kind of different than your normal pizza, but we like it. How can we cut this to be in 2 equal parts or in half? How can we cut this in half? I want you to think for a minute how you would cut that into half. So we want 2 halves, 2 equal parts. So I could cut it from the top to the bottom. Those look equal. That's called a vertical line. When you cut from the top to the bottom, I drew a vertical line. I could also cut my pizza horizontally using a horizontal line. That means a line from one side to the other. And look, I have 2 equal parts or 2 halves to the pizza. That looks equal. I could also, so there's 3 ways. I could also do this. So this way can get confusing, but if I draw a diagonal line, I have 2 triangles, but they're 2 equal parts or 2 halves of my pizza. Wow, we found 3 different ways to split that pizza into halves. But sometimes my parents, they want to eat the pizza too. They love pizza. So sometimes they want to share it with us. So I'm going to redraw, because I got a little crazy there. I'm going to redraw my Sicilian pizza, so my rectangle pizza. And I want you to think, how can I split this now so that I can get a piece, my brother can get a piece, my mom and my dad, there's 4 of us. How are we going to cut it? If we cut it in half, that's only 2 equal parts. I want you to think back, because we've talked about in CGI before. How can I split this so all 4 of us get an equal part? We need to cut it into 4 pieces or into fourths. We call it fourths. So we call it 2 equal parts halves, 4 equal parts fourths. That should be easy to remember, the fourths. So I could draw I could draw 4 vertical lines, remember top to bottom, and I get 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts, or 4 fourths or quarters of the pizza. I could also draw horizontal lines and get 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts or fourths of the pizza. And then we're going to try one more way. This one's tricky. When I cut the pizza into halves, or 2 equal parts, it was easy to see 2 rectangles of the same size. But these rectangles look a little different. These 2 look the same, and these 2 look the same, but I don't know if they're 4 equal parts. So we're not gonna cut diagonally for 4s. It's a little tricky for that. But we saw horizontally and vertically, or from top to bottom, or from left to right, we saw that we could cut it into fourths. So like I said, these are all fourths of, or quarters of, the pizza. So now I want us to think about how we could cut the circle pizza into fourths. If I cut vertical lines, my pieces don't really come out equal. And if I cut horizontal, it's the same problem. They don't really come out equal. So what we do when we cut a circle into 4 equal parts, or into fourths, we do 1 vertical and 1 horizontal line. And now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts, or 4 fourths of our pizza. So like I said, I cut a vertical and a horizontal line. So sometimes it's easier to make equal parts by cutting certain shapes in particular ways. So can the circle and the rectangle both be cut into fourths? Yeah, but we cut them a little bit differently, and that's okay. So what you need to do is be the big detectives you are, and figure out how you're going to cut your shapes to make equal parts. So the last thing I want to show, if I can find it, I have all these papers everywhere. Oh, it's right here. So this we call a quarter circle. We call it a quarter circle. So like I showed you when I put my pizza in quarters or fourths, it looked like this. And doesn't this look like it could fit in like a little piece of pizza into my circle? So we call it a quarter circle. What do you think we call this? If we call this a quarter circle, what do you think we call this? We call this a half circle. We call it a half circle because when I cut my circle in half, let's do my circle a little bit. When I cut my circle in half, this piece could fit right over there. A half circle. So when we cut things or shapes into 2 parts, we call it a half. When we cut it into 4 equal parts, we call it a quarter or a fourth. So for your problem, I'm going too fast. Before you even get to your problem set, in the back of your packet is something that looks like this. So this kind of looks like my pizza that I showed you, my circle pizza. This is my rectangular pizza, or my Sicilian pizza is what I called it. And you can practice cutting into fourths and into halves. And down here you can also practice with other shapes. And they put a little dot in the middle to help you see how you're going to cut it to be into equal parts. So that's in the back of your packet. And when you go, it'll say Lesson 8, Template 2. And that'll help you with the lesson. And then after you get some practice, you can then go into your packet and go to the Lesson 8 problem set. That looks like this. Sorry, it's so hard. So it says, are the shapes divided into halves? You're going to write yes or no on the line. So if I look here, the first one, does that look like 2 equal parts? This one looks a little big and that one looks a little small. So I would write no on the line. That's not cut into halves because it's not 2 equal parts. What about this one? Do these look like 2 equal parts, or are they not equal? Is one bigger than the other? One's bigger than the other. So these aren't 2 equal parts. It's not in half. So I'm going to write no. Then I get to this one. I'm going to turn a little bit like that. To me, those look like equal parts. Looks like how I cut my pizza in half. So this is in half. I'm going to write yes. I'm going to do the same for the rest. Then down here, it's asking, are these divided in quarters or in fourths? And you're going to write yes or no on the line if they're 4 equal parts. On the second page of your problem set, it looks like this. Sorry, it's a little messy. You're going to color half of each shape. Only half. So let me see, I have a pen up here. So if I'm only coloring half, that means I'm only coloring 1 out of the 2 equal parts. So I'm going to look at this, and I colored in 1 half. Colored in half of it, not the whole, but half. You're going to do that for the rest. Down here, you're going to color 1/4 of each shape. So it's cut into 4 equal parts. You color in 1. Just like that. And you'll do that for the rest. Then if you get time, you can do your homework for Lesson 8. And on the back, there's some more ways to help you do it. So that is our lesson for today. If you have any questions or anything you're a little confused, I also linked below a video that you can watch on top of this video. You can also look at, that might help you. I'm also going to be putting below links to pattern blocks. I know I didn't for the other lessons. I didn't know that I could, or I didn't know about this website, but I just found it. So I'm also going to link that below. My next post will be on Friday for Lesson 10. I hope you're all doing great. And again, if you have any questions, my number's on the front of your packet. So you can text me, you can call me with any questions you might have. All right, I'll see you guys soon.